Hello.
Hi, Andrea.
How you
Whereabouts?
going?
Good. Where are you from?
The Gold Coast.
Oh, lovely. So you're local.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Are you pregnant or got a newborn at home?
No, we're 3 weeks post
Yeah.
delivering baby.
Oh, lovely. How's it all
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's pretty good now. I'm just feeding at the moment. That's why camera's not on.
That's all right. That's
Um, but yeah, not too bad. Just I suppose like for us, we're just waiting for him to have his 6 weeks vaccination. So we sort of haven't really ventured out much. So I
mm-hmm.
guess that's why I'm sort of tuning into this tonight.
Yep. Yep. Have you noticed feeling a bit isolated so far in the 3 weeks you've been home?
Yeah. I mean, because we're usually very outdoorsy people and we're always constantly doing things. And I think, yeah, the last 3 weeks we've just been at home. Haven't really gone out and about much.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And just with everything that's going on with COVID as well, it's just,
Yeah.
just taking those extra safety precautions.
Yep. Yep. Have you got family on the Gold Coast?
No, oh yeah, we do. My family's in Brisbane, so we've had visitors quite often, but I suppose in terms of venturing out, we haven't done that much.
Yeah. Yep. It'll come.
Yeah, nearly there.
Yep.
3 more weeks to go. And we'll be
Yeah.
out and about everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, I guess while you've got that time at home, just look at it as a nice safety bubble time where it's just you and Bub and your partner as well. Is he
Yeah.
home from work? Yeah. You can just use that time to get to know your new baby and establish the breastfeeding, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of work involved with the breastfeeding, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
full-time
it
occupation.
has been. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has been for us.
Yeah. Has it been going smoothly, the feeding, or you've been having some struggles with it?
We're good now. We did in the beginning. My milk didn't, it took 9 days for that to come in
Yep.
because I had to have an emergency cesarean.
Yep.
And then, yeah, so we had to bottle feed and give him formula for that first week until it sort of came in. And then when my milk did start coming in, I think there was just a few issues with latching.
Mm-hmm.
But then we got a lactation consultant in and she, helped. And ever since then, it's been pretty good.
Good. Yeah. Did you birth at Gold Coast or somewhere
Yeah.
else?
No, the Gold Coast.
Yeah. So did you get a couple of visits from the home visiting midwives when you first came home?
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be part of the MGP,
Oh,
the
good.
midwifery group. So we still have our midwife that's going to see us up until 6 weeks. So
Excellent.
yeah.
That's good. How often does she come? Weekly or just whenever you need her?
Mainly now whenever we need her. We saw her today because we went to this post natal group catch up thing.
Yep.
But yeah, she'll touch base like weekly, and if we need to see her, she'll pop in. Other than that, it'll just sort of play it by ear.
Yeah. Good. That's good.
Yeah, that's been good.
And I see we've got another name there. Carly's joined us as well. Welcome, Carly. And you're on your iPhone and you're muted as well. So feel free to unmute yourself and say hello. That's quite okay. Or if you're driving and you'd rather not, that's all right too. Whatever's safe. All right. We'll just wait another minute or two to see if anyone else is going to join us. And if not, that's okay. We'll get started and we can always send out the recording to the others. We did have quite a few that registered for tonight, so we'll just give them the moment to jump on.
We're finished.
Did you have any specific questions, Andrea, that you wanted to ask tonight or get out of tonight?
Not at this stage. I think I'm just interested to see what the information that will be given tonight, and maybe towards the end.
Yeah.
At this stage, no, I'm just interested to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Carly, if you want to ask any questions in the chat box at any stage, just do so, and I'll be able to answer them. If not, as we go through, then certainly at the end there'll be plenty of time for questions and chatting at the end. So I've got Rose in the background who's just helping me with all the running of it. So she'll be monitoring the chat box as well. All right, I'll just go to share screen so we can get set up.
I might just mute myself just if baby starts to cry or anything like that. I don't want it to interfere with.
Yeah,
this.
That's all right. Not a problem. All right, so can you girls see that whole screen there? Bringing baby home in a COVID world, or is part of it obscured? Can you see the whole screen?
Yeah, I can see the whole screen.
Excellent. I can hear Bubby making some nice baby noises in the background. All right, well, it's 7:05, so we might make a start. So thank you, girls, for jumping on and joining in how we can manage postnatal isolation and loneliness and hopefully avoid it. But if it's being a problem, then what sort of strategies can we put in place to manage it or minimize it or get rid of it entirely? So why can't I go forward? All right, so these are the things that we'll cover tonight. So, it's doing it as a screen, as a slideshow. Just go back. That's it. So the things we'll cover tonight, first of all, who am I? So that you know that I've got some sort of credibility in talking about this. Why is isolation and loneliness more pronounced in the postnatal period? Ways to avoid and manage it. What sort of community supports are available? And some of that will depend on your own local area, but we can talk about how to find out where they are for you and how I might be able to help you in that journey. So first of all, that's me. My name's Colleen Wilson and I'm a registered midwife and a registered nurse and immunisation nurse for COVID while it's happening. I'm an aromatherapist and massage therapist and more importantly, a mum. So postnatal is my special interest. Being a midwife is what I've predominantly done for the last 30 years, even though there's a whole heap of other things listed there. Being a midwife has been my main career and I've loved it, and I've worked in all the different areas of midwifery, so antenatal, postnatal, special care nursery, and antenatal clinic and doing classes. But postnatal is really where my greatest love is. And up until October of last year, I was working at Gold Coast Uni Hospital as a home visiting midwife. So I would go and see mums and bubs in their own homes once they'd been discharged from hospital. and it's a great service, and really loved it. But I did think that there was more that we could be doing to help our mums prepare for their postnatal period, and also giving them more support once their babies had been born. So October last year, I decided to resign from that job, and I started my own private postnatal midwifery service, which is teaching fourth trimester workshops to teach couples what to expect after their baby's born. Most of the time when you do antenatal classes, the focus is on labour and birth and what to expect with all of that, which is great. That's well needed information. But very little, if anything, is talked about in terms of what happens once bub's born, what's normal for baby, what's normal for mum, for her healing and progress after that. So I started to do my own classes, and also offering postnatal support for that first 6 weeks after bub's born privately. So that's what Nurtured Mums is all about, which is my business name. So moving on to tonight's topic, why is loneliness and isolation more pronounced in the postnatal period? The most obvious one we've got at the moment is COVID, because of all the restrictions that's brought about, and border closures is one of them. So if normally you might have family, friends, mums, mum-in-law, whoever, spending more time with you once you've had a baby, and that's been either cut back dramatically, or it's something that you can't do at all because of border restrictions. So that's been it's played it and had an impact on the amount of loneliness and isolation that couples, and women in particular, are experiencing. Another reason is that once you get towards the end of your pregnancy, you usually stop work and then have that time off, which means that you're no longer mixing with your work colleagues. So you're isolated from them often. Your priorities change as well, and you might find that the friends that you had pre-baby, you may not have quite as much in common anymore, or you may find that your friends have already got newborns, or they're in that same part of their lifespan. So it's no issue for them. You still have common ground. But yeah, if your friends are at a different life stage, having not had babies, then that can make it feel more isolating for you. Also, your physical health changes. You're a lot more tired, of course, having a newborn in the house, and you just don't feel like going out and mingling as much. Caring for a newborn is a 24/7 job that if you've got a newborn, then you know it's a full-time job. So there's less time for you to be socializing with other people. At some stage, your partner goes back to work, so that leaves you in the house alone, either just you and the baby, or other children if you've got other children as well. But you're still lacking that maybe adult conversation and adult contact. And also, if you've got a history of anxiety, then after bub's born, this is a vulnerable time for you, because for a lot of reasons, the hormones are changing. You can be sleep deprived, your diet's changed, all sorts of reasons. If you're prone to getting anxiety or any mental health challenges, then this is a vulnerable time where often it will show up more. So humans crave human interaction and conversation. It's the way that we're wired. So the best way to overcome isolation and loneliness is to have human contact. How much you need will depend individual to individual. If you're an introvert, then you'll need less human contact than, say, an extrovert. And I'm an introvert, so I know that I can get away with having a lot less contact from people than, for example, I've got another midwife friend who's definitely an extrovert, and she's really felt the isolation that COVID has brought about for her. She's not a new mum, but she's felt the COVID isolation. So for new mums, it can be even more pronounced. So how do we avoid the postnatal isolation and loneliness? So I think the first step is to recognise that it may be a problem, particularly if you have got a history of some mental health challenges, anxiety, depression in particular. So if you can recognise that it may be a problem, or you may be in it now and feeling that you are isolated and you are feeling lonely, so what can we do about it? If you're at the stage where you're just recognizing that it may be a problem, there are some things that you can do to help plan for it. And healthy communication involves speaking your needs, which includes feelings of isolation and loneliness. So don't be afraid to speak up if this is something that is being problematic for you. I love this quote from Colleen Wilson. Asking for help does not mean that you're weak or incompetent. It usually indicates an advanced level of honesty and intelligence. I think that's a great quote, because a lot of postnatal women don't want to ask for help. They think that they should be able to do it on their own, or why am I feeling this way? I look at other mums and they don't seem to have any of these issues that I'm having. What's wrong with me? And we compare ourselves to other mums, and usually we find that we're coming off in our own minds second best. So don't compare yourself to others, but ask for help. If you need it, then ask for help. Relationships are the biggest thing that can remove isolation and loneliness. So have regular check-ins with your partner, and keep contact with the important people in your life. And if you can't do it face-to-face, then utilize the digital things that we've got available to us now, like FaceTime and Zoom, phoning and texting. And most of all, build your village. And what I mean by that is just having people that you can call on for help. They're your support people. It may be made up of a number of people: your partner, mum, mum-in-law, sister, friends, neighbours. Doesn't have to be just female support people. It might be males as well. So as much as you can before bub is born, have that village of support in place around you. And if you don't have that, or you don't know how to do that, then we'll talk a bit more about this later as the slideshow goes on. And it's definitely something I can help you with if you're struggling with it. And also practice self-care. Self-care definitely isn't selfish, it's necessary. So don't ever feel guilty for looking after yourself. The best thing that you can do for your baby is look after yourself, because if mum's okay, then she's much better able to look after bub. So what sort of things do I mean by self-care? A lot of these are going to be just very obvious to you and you've heard them all before, but the question is, have you put them into practice for yourself? So are you taking care of yourself in terms of enough sleep and rest? Are you eating well and drinking regularly? And in particular, once bub's born, if you're not doing those things, then your milk supply will suffer for it. And days that you don't drink enough or eat enough, your supply is just down. So it's important for that reason as well. Movement, getting out into the fresh air and sunshine, taking a walk in nature, they're things that are my happy places. And for you, it might be the beach, or it might be in your garden somewhere. It doesn't matter where it is, as long as you're able to know in your mind where's your place where you go to recharge your batteries. Things like routines and rituals, whether it be something simple like having morning coffee on your back patio where the sun's coming in. If it's something that you're doing every day or most days, it can be something that you look forward to, and it's just one small thing that can help keep the loneliness away. For me, my little routine or ritual that I love to do every day is go and buy a Zarrapas, which is, that's just something I like to do every day, and I look forward to it every day. So when that doesn't happen, I miss it, and I think, oh, Something's not right today. Self-care might look like a particular hobby that you've got. And I know that once you've got a newborn, you don't have as much time to yourself. So this may not be something that's feasible, that's doable. But if you find that maybe Bub hasn't been born yet, or you're a little ways down the track with having a newborn, and you've got these feelings of being isolated and lonely, then this can be a time that you can maybe think, well, what hobbies have I had in the past that I enjoyed that I haven't been able to do because I've been working or I've been busy with a newborn or whatever. Now I've got a little bit more time on my hands. What can I do that I enjoy? And it might be, they're just a few examples there: painting, drawing, web design, start your own small business, whatever it is, whatever floats your boat and you enjoy. It's not selfish to practice the self-care. It's necessary. Now, with media coverage, you don't, if it's something that distresses you, like watch that. This is something that I used to do when I was pregnant, because I had a lot of anxiety during pregnancy. I just stopped watching the news completely. I didn't listen to any of it because all it would do was make me feel distressed and churned up. So I just stopped watching it. And the only shows I did watch on telly were short comedies, like, half-hour sitcoms that were pretty brainless, but they made me laugh. So if the media coverage is, not doing great things for your mental health, you don't have to watch it. Turn it off. Don't have to watch it. And the same goes for Facebook and Instagram. If you spend a lot of time on that and it doesn't leave you feeling good, like if you're seeing stories and you think you're comparing yourself, or you're thinking, why can't I be like her? She's got it all together. She looks beautiful and whatever. Delete them. If it's not serving your purpose in any way, just get rid of them, even if it's just for a short time. Setting intentions at the start of the day can be helpful. So the words that you say to yourself influence how you feel. So if the words that you're saying are like, oh, I'm really lonely, I've got no one to talk to, I feel awful, I just don't want to get out of bed of a morning. Whatever the words that you're saying to yourself, whether they be out loud or just usually in your head, those words influence your moods and how you feel. So if you can change the tape that's going in your head to more positive thoughts, words, even if you don't feel them, start saying them in your head, and eventually the feelings will catch up. And this would go along with the affirmations as well. If you want to write down some affirmations for yourself and have them on the fridge, behind the toilet door, on the bathroom mirror, wherever it is that you see it a lot during the day, to keep reminding you. And it might be something like, I am the best mum for my baby. I am using this time wisely to get to know my baby. Whatever it is, whatever the affirmations are that you need to hear, write them down and put them where you can see them. And just cultivating that attitude of gratitude. And journaling is another thing that I hate journaling. I always struggle with journaling. And people often tell me at low times, journal, write it all down. And some people do well at that. And I have to force myself to do it, but I must say that it does help. So if there's any negativity going on in my head, if I write it down and get it out with pen and paper, then it does seem to help. So I put that in as another self-care tool. Now, these next couple of slides are just some support organisations that you may or may not have heard of. Oops. So PANDA, which stands for Perinatal Anxiety and Depression of Australia. It's just handy to know that these support organisations exist. And if you want to find out more about them, just go to their websites and browse through what it is that they have on offer. So PANDA's one, COPE, which stands for Centre of Perinatal Excellence. And I didn't have much to do with this group up until recently, but they also run a lot of Mama Tribe Facebook groups, and you can find ones that are local in your area, and they do face-to-face meetups, and they also do virtual meetups. But the other thing they do, which I found really good, was that they have email support called Ready to Cope. So you can enroll with them, and one of the questions they ask is, are you pregnant, or if you're postnatal, how many weeks, whatever. So I did a little exercise to see what it was that was in the emails, and I filled it out and said that my due date is like about a week's time or something, so that I could receive their emails on an ongoing basis to see what sort of content they had in it, for the purpose of then knowing whether it was something worthwhile to tell other women about, postnatal women and pregnant women. And it was good. It was really good. So initially I was getting emails every few days, weekly, and then they got a little bit further apart, but it was all support that was relevant for where I was at that life, part of the life journey, going by if I'd have had a baby at that date that I said. So yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind. And their motto with their Facebook groups is no mum left behind. So they want to see every mum as part of some sort of tribe, so that they don't have problems so much with the loneliness and the isolation. White Cloud, I hadn't heard of this one up until recently either. It was launched in August of this year, and they provide a tele mental health service, which is free for Queenslanders, and they do it via phone or video conferencing, and you don't need a referral from your GP or anyone. You can just ring them. So that's called White Cloud. Whoops. And the next thing I'd be doing is looking for what new mum supports are in your own local area, or if you're still pregnant, what pregnancy support groups are around. And the first two places I'd normally start would be doing a social media search on Facebook and Instagram and Google searches. So lots and lots of different groups have lots of different meetups, whether they be virtual or face-to-face. The face-to-face are becoming more and more back in our sphere again. Sorry, just keep going. Yep, so lots of people do new mums meetups. Playgroup is quite extensive, so you can Google Playgroup and find what's available in your local area. Local church groups often have playgroups and mum get-togethers. The child and family health centres, you may or may not have heard of those. Early childhood centres, they go by a few different names, but they are government-run centres that are scattered all over the community, and most suburbs have them. So they do things like breastfeeding support, group meetups. Sometimes they'll do short, like lecture type interactive things. Local council often runs playgroups or activities, and the libraries the same. They'll often run activities so that you can get out and meet new mums. So that's a fairly comprehensive list there, and it just involves getting on your phone really and doing a bit of sleuthing work, but there are lots of ideas there to get you started. So how can I help? How can Nurtured Mums help you? If you haven't had bub, then fourth trimester workshops are things that I run, and in this, we do things like what's normal for a newborn's behaviour and appearance, all the skills of swaddling, bathing, nappy changing, cord care, learning a bit more about the sleep and settling, what's normal for bubs, breastfeeding preparation, and what sort of body changes, to expect for mum. And the idea of that is forewarned is forearmed. So if you know what to expect when you're going through it later after bub's born, then if you know what's normal, then the anxiety levels drop tremendously, because if you see the baby looking or doing something a certain way, you know it's normal, or as well, you'll know, well, that's not quite normal, I'll get that looked at. So the 4th trimester workshops, I run them either via Zoom for anyone that doesn't live on Gold Coast or South Brisbane. Otherwise, if you live in my area, then I can travel to your home and we do them in your own home. They take a couple of hours and it's for just privately for the couple. Postnatal support packages, I also do those and they can be run virtually. And again, if you're on Gold Coast or South Brisbane, we can do in-home work, in-home packages. So with the virtual, it's a 6-week safety net of virtual midwife support. And we usually meet via a Zoom for a planning session. So I can get to know you, you can get to know me, and we're on the same page. We know what you're hoping to get out of your postnatal session, and you just have a contact person so that you don't have those feelings of being alone or isolated. So we do 6 weekly sessions via Zoom, and mostly during that time we just hold the space for you to talk about how your experience as a new mum is unfolding and problem solve any issues as they crop up. And that might include things like the isolation, loneliness, and then we look at addressing it there and then for how we can minimise it for you. And home visits, they're really tailored to the couple, to the mum's needs, whatever she needs help with. So often it's breastfeeding support. That's the main struggle that new mums have. Birth debriefing, mum and bub wellbeing checks, also do a bit of light housework, and Ayurvedic cooking. I love doing cooking. That's a special interest of mine. So all the soups and stews and bone broths and all sorts of healing, nutrient dense foods I can make for you. So if you go to my Instagram, Nurtured Mums bio, you'll see there that there's a free postnatal handbook. You're quite welcome to go there, download it, print it out, and have a look at it. And it goes through some more practical exercises that you can do at home to build your own village, how to go about building your village. And that's my website, nurturedmums.com.au. So that is the end of the slideshow. Now, if you've got questions, comments, anything that you want to ask me, talk to me about, comment on, now's your time. So we'll open up the chat. So if you want to ask questions, don't forget to unmute yourself. Don't be shy.
That was good. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't really have any questions.
Can hear your bubby in the background.
Yeah.
Enjoying the feed.
Yes, a little too much. Okay, here we go. Yeah, no, that was really good. Yeah, it's good strategies on how to sort of, you know, deal with loneliness, and because yeah, my partner will be going back to work soon, and I think being with the baby or by myself and not having anyone to talk to for 10 hours or however long. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, so I guess the main take-home message is that the thing that's going to combat the isolation and loneliness is human interaction, which you probably knew that already, maybe just needed to hear someone spell it out again. But the best way to put that in place is by building a village of support people. And if you don't already have one, then you can overcome that by just Googling a lot of it and finding out what's on in your local area.
Yeah.
Got what activities. There's always virtual, but the more that you can get out and doing the face-to-face, that's what really will help the most. And we'll be able to do that more and more as time goes on, as we've reached something like just over 70% double vaccination rate at the moment. If you've been following on the news, you're probably already aware of that. So, the borders are going to open up at this stage in the near future. We'll be able to see families see each other again. So things from a COVID point of view should get better. But even with take COVID out of the equation, postnatal isolation and loneliness has always been a problem, particularly in our society, because we don't build villages. We're not very good at it. In our Australian culture, we tend to just have our own nuclear family, and we don't have mums and grandmas and aunts and other women come and help us when Bub's born often. There's a number of reasons for that, but culturally we're not very good at it in Australia. So building awareness of it and helping women do it, that's what I'm passionate about, because postnatal goes so much better if you've got support. We're not meant to do it on our own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all right, yeah, that's good. Definitely have a look to see if there's any like mum groups or anything, mum catch-ups sort of in the area. That'll be good to sort of, keep busy.
Yeah, so get your phone out whenever you next got free time, or even when you're breastfeeding, have your phone and scrolling. I didn't say that. But yes, finding out on Facebook and Instagram where your local things are happening and Googling. So probably they can be your two best friends at the moment, Google and Facebook, Insta, social media, so you can find out what's local to you. But also investigating all those other areas like the councils, the libraries, the early childhood centres. And sometimes it feels like you're having to do a lot of work to combat the loneliness. Everyone's excited when you're pregnant, you have the baby, and you get this influx of texts and phone calls and can we visit, and then it kind of slowly peters out over the week. And as time goes on, you think, oh, where's everyone gone? No one's ringing or texting me anymore. So that's when you often have to start being even a bit more proactive. And then when partners go back to work, that's usually another time where mums feel, oh, what am I going to do now? My partner's going back to work. I'm going to be alone, just me and the baby, or me, the baby, and other kids. And it can be quite stressful and something that causes a lot of anxiety. So village building, build your village. So if any of you ladies want to work any further with me, just reach out, send me a text, email. You can catch me via the website or through Insta or Facebook, any way you like. If you feel like you're in a spot where you need further help, individual help to get yourself in a better place, don't be afraid to reach out. I'll just have a quick look through these chat boxes to make sure I haven't missed anything. Elise, thanks for the webinar and the resources. Don't have any questions, check out your Insta and website. Yeah, thanks for coming, Elise. Alice or Elise? I'm not sure whether I pronounced that right. Sorry if I've stuffed up the pronunciation. Kim's feeding my baby to sleep, can't talk. That's all right. Thank you for the webinar. Very helpful. All new mums definitely need it. Yep. Going to share the event to friends. Yep. Will next week talk be the same or different? We're running it once a month, and this has been, tonight's talk has been different to what I did previously, because I like tonight better because I think it's more specific to loneliness and isolation, which is how I advertised it. But if the webinars do really well and people are asking for more topics, then I can quite easily do different topics, anything midwifery related, in particular postnatal. So in answer to that question, will next month's talk be the same? At this stage, yes, it will be. But if you even want to listen in again yourself, it's free. Why not? If you've got the time, go sit in on it, because others might bring in different questions or different viewpoints or different different points of view. So you still might get something out of it, even if you sat through it again. Yep. All right. Yep. I think there's everything there. All right. So Kim, Fanny, Andrea, thank you so much, ladies, for coming. And I hope you found that useful and beneficial, and you've got a few more tools in your toolbox now to manage it if it's being a problem, or ward it off if it's not being a problem and you think it may be. And yeah, don't be afraid to get in touch with me if you think that I might be able to help you with something else more concrete. Rose, anything else from you, Rose?
I think I'm all pretty good, thanks, Andrea. Sorry, I got Andrea on the brain. Colleen, no, I'm all good. I'm looking forward to next month's webinar, and it'll be a ripper.
Yeah. So, ladies, tell all your friends that you'll see it advertised on Facebook and Instagram the same. And we'll send the recording out to you, ladies, and the ones that enrolled that weren't able to come tonight. And hopefully we might even see you next month if you want to come again. But yeah, tell your friends.
Good night, ladies.
See you later. Bye.